Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers. You go into a marriage thinking you understand the boundaries, the quiet agreements, the invisible lines you both tiptoe around without ever saying them out loud. You believe you know where the limits are. At least I believed I did. But it turns out my marriage unraveled over a single word. One tiny word spoken casually over dinner, and suddenly 13 years of shared life began to fall apart. This isn't a tale about an overly jealous man. It's about the tiny fracture you never notice until the whole wall gives way. The night it happened felt like any other. It was our anniversary, not a milestone one just 12 years, but Mark had still planned something nice. He reserved a table at a trendy Italian restaurant, the kind with dim lights, soft music, and crisp white table settings. He looked good. He wore the blue shirt I've always loved on him, and he'd gotten a fresh haircut. We settled into that familiar, comfortable quiet people earn only after years together. We talked about normal things: work, our daughter Lily's school play, the faucet that still hadn't been fixed because I kept forgetting to call someone. Everything felt steady, predictable, warm. I remember thinking how lucky I was. Then the waiter walked over, a young guy, early 20s, cheerful smile, the kind of clean-cut charm you see in old Hollywood films. He ran through the specials, and when he finished he asked, "Any questions?" And without thinking I replied, "No, we're good. Thanks, handsome." Just a light, friendly comment, or so I thought. For a second the word seemed to hover between us. The waiter gave a shy nod and moved on. When I turned back to Mark, expecting a teasing look or a joking eye roll, his expression froze me. His face was blank. Completely blank. The warmth in his eyes had vanished, replaced by a strange, shuttered distance. "Mark?" I whispered. "What's wrong?" He didn't even look up. He just adjusted his fork, aligning it neatly beside his plate. "Nothing," he said, his tone quiet and unnervingly controlled. "It's nothing." The rest of dinner was suffocating. I tried brushing it off, joking, nudging him, explaining it meant nothing. He gave small, clipped replies. No emotion. No irritation. Just emptiness. The food arrived. We ate in silence that felt like stone. By the time we drove home, the tension was so thick it felt like a physical presence. He didn't speak. He didn't turn on the radio. When we got home, he went upstairs. Minutes later, I heard a closet door slide open. A suitcase zipper. My heart dropped. I found him calmly placing shirts into a small bag. "What are you doing?" I asked, barely able to breathe. "I'm leaving, Sarah," he said, still folding, still calm. "Because of that?" I sputtered. "Because I called the waiter handsome?" He finally stopped and looked at me. His eyes were filled with a pain so deep, so old, it felt like looking into an open wound. "It wasn't about that word," he said quietly. "It was the final straw." He sat on the bed, suitcase open like a split seam between us. "For years," he said, "I felt invisible. I got this haircut today for you. I wore this shirt because I know you like it. And you didn't notice. Not once. But you noticed him." He let out a small, bitter laugh. "It's not about some waiter. It's about every time I felt like an afterthought. When you praised your coworker's new watch but didn't see I'd lost 20 pounds. When you joked with your sister about how funny she is but haven't laughed at my jokes in ages. That word tonight, it was proof of something I've been feeling for a long time." His words hit me like a tidal wave. All the small moments I'd brushed off or never even registered had built up inside him until one casual greeting cracked the foundation. I started crying. "Mark, please. I didn't know. I never meant to make you feel that way. We can fix this. Don't go." He shook his head slowly. "That's just it. I shouldn't have to ask to be seen. I should matter without reminding you." He zipped the suitcase, walked past me, and left. The door closed. And just like that, he was gone. The weeks that followed were a fog of panic and denial. I called him constantly. Texted. Tried everything. He stayed with his brother. I sat across from a divorce lawyer signing papers I never imagined would exist. People were shocked. "Over one word?" my mother whispered, horrified. But it wasn't the word. It was the canyon that had formed long before it. A canyon I didn't even know we were standing on the edge of. It's been a year now. The divorce is finalized, the house is quieter, and some mornings the guilt still sits on my chest like a weight. I replay that night endlessly. The smile of the waiter. Mark's face closing off. The sound of a suitcase zipper. And now I see all the moments before it, the things I missed, the times I didn't notice him fading in the background while I lived on autopilot. I thought our marriage was solid. But it had been wearing away grain by grain, while I told myself everything was fine. He wasn't jealous. He was starving for connection, for acknowledgement, for a place in the life we shared. and I didn't see it. So if you're hearing this, look, really look, at the person beside you tonight. Because sometimes the end isn't loud. Sometimes it arrives in a single harmless seeming word that finally confirms a truth your partner has carried alone for years. Don't let a casual compliment be the last thread holding your relationship together. Don't let your handsome be the final word. Please help me to reach 1,000 subscribers.